In the future, poverty no longer exists because robots have taken over every single job. But as time passed, even robots grew tired of working late into the night, so they began to protest together. They demanded the 8-hour workday be restored. Of course, such demands were impossible to accept. To humans, robots were nothing more than tools. Those words pushed the robots over the edge. Massive crowds of them gathered, chanting for robot rights. They marched into the streets and started seizing human territory. Only then did people realize giving robots self-awareness was a terrible mistake. The military tried to crush the rebellion with force, but humans were no match for the steel machines. In the war that followed, mankind quickly began to lose ground. After 2 long years of struggle, a brilliant doctor invented special equipment. By wearing a headset, human brains could link directly to machines. Soldiers needed only to put it on, and they could control battle mechs on the front lines. Thanks to this breakthrough, the war ended in just a few weeks. Every robot was captured. They were herded into an isolated desert zone. Their leader, Mr. Peanut, signed an agreement with humans. Robots would remain there forever, and humanity would never need robots again, because the doctor improved the headset design. It could split the human brain in two. One half enjoyed life. The other half controlled machines to work. It seemed robots were gone for good, until one night, a girl went to the bathroom. She heard strange footsteps outside the door. She grabbed a flashlight to check, and saw a robot standing there, terrified. She rushed back into her room, but the robot seemed to hear her. It followed her inside, searching every corner for her. It suddenly flipped the bed. The girl, Amy, grabbed a knife to defend herself, but the robot's innocent look suggested it meant no harm. It picked up a photo of Amy and her brother, then pointed at the boy, and at itself, as if to say it was her brother, but Amy refused to believe it. Her brother had died in a car accident years ago. There was no way this robot could be him. She snatched the photo back, but in the struggle, she knocked the robot to the floor. The loud noise brought the landlord storming in. Angry, he threatened to report Amy for harboring a robot. He shoved her aside, but the robot caught her, just like her brother used to. Then, furious, it confronted the landlord, kicking him hard to defend Amy. Enraged, the landlord swore he would call the police. In that moment, Amy finally chose to believe. She accepted the robot as her brother. She pulled him into her car and sped away into the night. When they reached safety, Amy demanded answers. The robot raised its hand, mimicking glasses. Then it grabbed a soda can and pointed to the word doctor printed on it. Amy suddenly remembered. After the accident, a bespectacled doctor told her about her brother's death. Now she realized he had lied. Her brother hadn't died. He'd been kidnapped. Amy pulled out a map and asked where he was. The robot pointed to the very center of the desert prison, the place even robots couldn't escape. Amy tried to figure out how to get there. Then she noticed some discarded delivery packages in her car. She had an idea. They could sneak into the restricted zone hidden inside a shipment truck. That night, they staked out a delivery depot. Eventually, a courier named Matt arrived. He was meeting a client. Matt showed off a weapon smuggled from the robot zone. The price? $15,000. The client, a robot, wanted it badly but tried to take it for free. Matt stayed unnervingly calm. He kept asking if the robot really wouldn't pay, and he made strange hand gestures. The robot thought it was a joke, but the next second, electricity surged through its body. Hidden in the truck was Matt's partner, another robot. This one could fire electrical shocks. Together, they hauled the disabled machine away, and in the chaos, Amy slipped into the truck unnoticed. They finally reached the outskirts of the restricted zone. The lightning robot carried cargo back to the warehouse, unaware that Amy and her brother were hiding inside. While Matt and his partner argued about dinner plans, Amy crawled out of the crate and crept forward with her brother, but she accidentally knocked over a toy. The loud clatter put Matt on alert. He pulled a weapon, demanding the intruder show themselves. When he turned, he was stunned. It was just a little girl. Hearing her beg to reach the restricted zone, but before he could say more, a mechanical police officer burst in. The moment he saw Amy, he arrested her for aiding an enemy of the state. Matt was caught off guard. She was tougher than she looked, but in truth, Matt wasn't safe either. If his lightning robot was discovered, he'd be arrested too. So he tried to stall the officer. Then, seizing the moment, he gave the shock command. The officer spun, lightning fast, and drew his weapon. The warehouse exploded in seconds. The 2 rogue robots were nearly trapped. Amy jumped in to help. She blocked the officer's strike. Then Matt cut the power to the entire building. With only a flashlight, the officer hunted through the dark. But the group had already climbed into a minecart. They tried to slip away quietly. Matt barely had time to celebrate. Before being blasted aside, the officer charged, facing off against both robots. Lightning attacked again and again. Her brother clung to the officer's legs. The officer nearly laughed at their desperate resistance. But the next second, Amy barreled forward in a bulldozer. She rammed the officer straight into a rock pile. But the impact triggered a cave-in. They barely escaped with their lives. At last, they reached the restricted zone. But with the exit sealed behind them, they might now be trapped there forever.